Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to adjust the valves on this 5-cylinder turbo diesel. I've already gotten up here and adjusted the first 2 cylinders and all of that, but I still have the final 3 at the back to get adjusted. And I'm here to tell you this engine here was probably not running at full efficiency, just because these valves here were completely closed off, as in there wasn't any gap in between the camshaft here and the rockers that attach, and that's basically where you're going to be adjusting it. So I'm gonna basically just kind of come up in here and show you just exactly how I do it. And first thing that you want to get a socket that fits the end of the crank pulley so that you can turn the engine over. And basically, to get to where you can adjust the valves on it, you have to get the lobes of the cam to where they're basically not coming down on the rocker arm, because you can't adjust valves that way, because you're adjusting whenever the camshaft is at a point where it's going to be depressing on the valve. So basically, you just kind of want to get your your lobes there on your camshaft rotated around to where they're not coming down and contacting the rocker arm. And I'll show you a little bit more about that here in a minute. But yeah, first of all, you don't really need the special wrenches to get in here and do it. Basically because I've got the engine out of the car, and it's just a lot easier this way to get in there to get those adjusters loosened up and all of that. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get in here and I'll start showing you how to adjust these. Alright, basically you want to get in here with your wrenches, and you can kind of turn these to where you can get them on the flats, and then just kind of break them loose. Just kind of like that right there. And now this one here that I just loosened up, that's the exhaust for cylinder number 3. So you basically need to come in here and adjust these down, because they don't adjust to the exact same specifications. And these, like I said before, these valves here were pretty well all closed off, basically. And you don't have to do these one at a time. You can loosen up both sides, but I like to do them one at a time, just because I don't want to take a chance of getting in there and hitting one and all of that. But yeah, I just like to do them one at a time. And now whenever you get that adjusted or basically loosened up, I'll come in here and I'll show you what I do on the other side. So what you're kind of looking at here is the gap in between that rocker arm and that camshaft. So you can see right there that there's a pretty decent sized gap in between that rocker arm and that camshaft. So basically, you want to come up on the other side over there and adjust that top nut up to where it basically kind of starts closing that off. You can see how that's getting bigger and smaller. So basically, I'll get that, adjusted up and, get my feeler gauge and get it stuck in there and, basically get it adjusted. And get you guys a little better viewpoint of how I'm doing this. Basically, I like to take my feeler gauges out of the holder just because I don't really like messing with holding them all at once. So we'll just stick those in there and start adjusting that down to where it basically gets in there, and you can kind of slide it back and forth. And now one thing that I like to do whenever I'm adjusting my valves, I've noticed doing this, that whenever you go to tighten it back up to where you can't adjust it anymore, it likes to tighten them up. So I'll see, I can't, I really had to yank on that to get it to pull out. And now that's pretty close to the correct measurement of what it needs to be. And I like to loosen it up just a little bit to where you can kind of just feel it dragging just a little bit in there. And now basically I'll just come over here to the other side and tighten them back up. And now one thing I'll show you here real quick. One thing that you want to make sure that you don't do is, I told you that you wanted to turn the the nut to adjust it. This right here up top is how you adjust it, with that one right up there. And now down here on the bottom, that is your lock nut. I'll show it to you here a little bit better. And you can see the flats down there on the bottom, and that top one is what adjust it. So basically, whenever you go to tighten these up to where they don't move, you don't want to turn that top one, because then that's basically what adjusts your valve, and you'll end up closing them back up. So don't turn that top one. You want to turn the bottom one down there counterclockwise to basically tighten it up on that top one. And yeah, that'll pretty much lock everything down into place. And if you come in here and you bump it because you don't get your wrench on there just right, you should be okay. Just because, like I said, whenever putting those feeler gauges in there to check the check the distance in there. I left it just a little bit loose just for this reason right here. I should have done this before I pulled the injectors out of it, or while I had the injectors out, I should say, just because it would have been a little bit easier. But I didn't quite think about it at the time. So, oh well, you can still get in here and do it like this with the injectors in place. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do it there. I'll come back over here and check the check the measurement on it and see just kind of what we done. And yeah, it tightened up just a little bit, and right there is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'll basically kind of leave it at that. And the only difference between doing all of the rest of these is just your basic measurement there in between the rocker arms and the camshaft itself, and the distance on a turbo motor, on your exhaust valve and on your intake valve, is the exhaust valve on a turbo motor, you set it at 0.035 millimeters, and on your intake valve you set it at 0.01 millimeters. So that's pretty much it. Basically, as like I was saying, you got to get your engine rotated to where the lobes on the camshaft are not coming down and touching the rockers. And you adjust, the rocker arms by adjusting this very top nut, and then you tighten them down with the very bottom one. And like I say, after you get your valves adjusted, don't turn the top one, just leave it pretty much where it's at, and you should be good to go. And now it doesn't matter if you go in and you start doing one cylinder at a time. You don't have to do it one cylinder at a time. You basically have to get in here and get your lobes to where they're up and off of the rocker arms. So yeah, but it's just a little bit more simpler, just to go ahead and do one cylinder at a time, and just go about that way so that you can make sure that you got all of your valves done. But yeah, I think I'll leave it off there. And I'm basically getting pretty close to having this engine put back together and able to drop back down into the car. I basically just need to get the valve cover lid back on it after I get the valves done, put the intake and exhaust back on there, and the turbo. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying my videos on my old 300 SD here, and I would really appreciate you giving my video a like and subscribing to my channel. But I think I'll leave it off there for today, and hopefully in the next video I put up, I'll be dropping this engine back down in there. And I just appreciate all of my new viewers. for watching, and all of my new subscribers for subscribing. And I'll be dropping this engine back down in there soon, so I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.